Welcome to the deep dive. You know that feeling in sports, right? That real electricity when a challenger, maybe after failing again and again, is finally right there, knocking on the door against some long reigning champion.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's more than just the score, isn't it? It's about trying to smash through a mental wall, break that history.
Exactly. And today we're diving deep into one of those moments, a recent U.S. Open quarterfinal that it really showed the raw side of elite competition.
It's the kind of story sports fans live for. You got this huge weight of history bumping right up against raw ambition. For this deep dive, we're looking closely at that match between Novak Djokovic and Taylor Fritz.
The legend and the challenger.
Precisely. We'll unpack the specific flow of that match, look at their histories coming in, and sort of explore what it tells us about high-stakes tennis, mental game, and, well, just how hard it is to actually get that breakthrough.
Yeah, that elusive breakthrough. And for this deep dive, our info comes straight from a live updated piece in The Independent.
Which is great, because it gives us that real-time feel, almost point by point, like we're sitting there watching it happen.
Feels immediate. Okay, so let's set this up for you. Novak Djokovic. I mean, the name basically is dominance in tennis, right? A living legend. But what does the Independent article immediately flag as, the biggest hurdle facing Fritz here?
Well, the first thing that just jumps out is that head-to-head record. It's kind of staggering. Before this match, Djokovic had won all 10 times they played.
10?
10 out of 10. That's not just a stat. It's like a psychological fortress hanging over the whole match. More than a rivalry, really, it's this historical stronghold.
Yeah, you can imagine that weighing on Fritz.
For sure.
Yeah.
And then you add Djokovic bidding for a record 25th Grand Slam title, his 53rd semifinal. I mean, the guy's career is just sustained excellence. The article even said he played his best tennis of the tournament, beating Struff in the round before. Straight sets.
So he was coming in hot.
Peak form, yeah.
Yeah.
Carrying all that momentum. It's intimidating.
No kidding.
Yeah.
But then you've got Taylor Fritz, and he's not just some random player, right? He's the last American guy left in the singles draw. Big hopes there. He made the U.S. Open final last year. He's the 4th seed.
Exactly. This isn't some newcomer scared of the spotlight. He's established.
And what's really interesting is Djokovic himself apparently said Fritz was knocking on the door for a breakthrough. How does that kind of comment from the champ, acknowledging the challenger, play into the mind games before the match even starts?
Yeah. That's a good point. It adds another layer, doesn't it? It's like Djokovic is saying, okay, I see you're a threat, but it also puts even more pressure on Fritz to actually, do it. Like, prove me right.
Right. Show me you can actually walk through that door.
Exactly. And the stakes were huge. Winner gets Carlos Alcaraz in the semis, and Alcaraz had just put on what the article called a sensational performance against Watvh. So yeah, high pressure all around.
Okay. That really paints the picture. And just for a bit of wider context from the article, it mentions other drama happening too, like Aryna Sabalenka. She got to the semis without even playing because Vondrousova pulled out injured.
Right, and then Sabalenka was set to play Pegula, a rematch of last year's final. It just shows you the pressure cooker of a Grand Slam affects everyone.
Yeah, it's relentless.
Totally. And even in doubles, the article mentioned Venus Williams and Leylah Fernandez had their run ended pretty decisively, comfortably beaten by the top seeds. It just underlines that even top players hit walls, which kind of brings us back to Fritz.
Okay, yeah, let's get into the match itself, because this is where things get really, really dramatic. First set, Djokovic takes it 6-3. Pretty much as expected, maybe. Sort of set the tone.
Yeah, felt a bit like, okay, here we go again. Familiar script.
But then the second set, oh man, the second set, that was something else.
It really was.
Yeah.
What's so wild is that for the first 5 or 6 games, Fritz looked like he was in complete control. That's how the article put it.
Complete control against Djokovic.
Yeah. He was bringing it, hitting huge, pushing Novak around. Djokovic even applauded one of Fritz's backhand winners. Fritz looked like he was absolutely ready to finally snap that losing streak. He was playing lights out.
Okay, so he's dictating play, looking good. But this is Novak Djokovic. Even when he looks shaky, he just hangs in there. Fritz must have had chances, right? Break points.
Oh, did he ever? This is where it gets painful if you're Fritz. Djokovic saved 9 break points in that second set.
9 in one set.
9. It was just a masterclass in clutch play from Djokovic. The article mentions his supreme accuracy, how he'd just find the lines, put away smashes when Fitz tried to dig in. He just would not break.
It's like Fritz is hammering on the door.
Yeah, and Djokovic is just calmly replacing every plank Fritz manages to knock loose. Absolutely brutal.
9 break points saved. And then Djokovic gets his chance. The article calls it daylight robbery. What happened there?
It really felt like a heist. Okay, so Fritz has had all these chances, right? 9 of them. Nothing. Then, at 4-3, Djokovic gets his first breakpoint opportunity of the set.
Just one.
Just one. Just one. And boom, he takes it. Fritz apparently made a bad error on the forehand side. The article calls it a steal, daylight robbery. Fritz does all the work, creates all this pressure, and Djokovic just swoops in on the first sniff of a chance and grabs the lead.
Ugh. That must have been a massive gut punch for Fritz.
Huge.
Yeah.
But here's where it gets even more twisty. Fritz did break back, finally,
He did. When?
at 5-5. On his 10th breakpoint chance of the match, Djokovic apparently dumped a drop shot into the net, then double faulted, gave Fritz the opening.
Just times the charm.
Exactly. And the article says Fritz yelled out, finally. You could almost feel the relief through the page.
Okay, so maybe that was the moment the tide finally turned in.
You'd think so, right?
Yeah.
For a second, it felt like, okay, here's the shift. But this is Djokovic we're talking about. His mental game is just unreal.
What happened next? Don't tell me.
Yep. Immediately after getting broken, when you'd expect maybe a slight dip, Djokovic breaks Fritz right back. It's 6-5.
No way. How?
Fritz helped him out a bit. Another double fault, and then what the article called a poor forehand into the net. A gift, basically. It was like Djokovic just refused to let Fritz enjoy that break for even a single game.
Just relentless. Took the break back instantly.
Instantly. Snuffed out the comeback before it could even start.
And then he served it out.
Served it out for 7-5. The article even highlights this stunning retrieval on his forehand to get to set point, and then his reaction blowing kisses to the crowd.
Probably aimed at that Fritz fan who yelled, finally.
Could be. That mix of incredible skill and, that little bit of showmanship. Classic Djokovic.
So when you boil it down, looking at the numbers, what was the killer difference? The article points to one stat in particular.
Yeah, it really comes down to breakpoint conversion. It was, as the article put it, almost the difference. Stark contrast.
What were the numbers?
Fritz, 1 for 11, 1 break out of 11 chances.
Huge. 1 for 11. And
Djokovic, 3 for 6. Much more efficient. Ruthless, really.
3 out of 6 versus 1 out of 11. Wow, that stat just says it all, doesn't it?
It really does. It perfectly captures that mental battle. Fritz playing great in stretches, creating all those chances, bringing it, but just couldn't land the killer blow when it counted.
Convert.
Exactly. And Djokovic, clinical.
Yeah.
Didn't need many chances, but the ones he got, he took them. That's the gap right there, turning potential pressure into actual scoreboard pressure.
Yeah, it shows that at this insane level, it's not just about playing well or creating openings. It's about sealing the deal under that immense Grand Slam quarterfinal pressure against a legend.
Fritz was knocking on the door, like Djokovic said. He made the openings, but Novak just kept slamming it shut over and over.
So looking back at this deep dive, what it really highlights about elite sports is just, well, the incredible pressure, first off, and how tiny the margins are between feeling in control and suddenly collapsing.
Absolutely. And that psychological weight of history, that 10-0 record, you have to think that played a part, especially on those break points.
Yeah, for sure. Fritz played some amazing points, but Djokovic's resilience, his knack for capitalizing, that was a difference maker.
And think about what this means beyond tennis. This whole match is kind of a lesson in competitive psychology, isn't it? Resilience isn't just bouncing back. It's being ice cold when your chance comes. That breakpoint stat for Djokovic, that's about seizing the moment.
Oh, so for you listening, maybe think about where you might be knocking on a door, creating opportunities, but maybe struggling to convert.
Right. What's the equivalent of Djokovic's supreme accuracy or that immediate breakback that you could apply? How do you turn that potential into a real breakthrough?
That's a really practical takeaway. It's about performing when it matters most, finding that focus under pressure, and also not letting a setback, like that daylight robbery break, derail you completely, bouncing back instantly.
Exactly. Don't let one bad moment cascade. So as we wrap this up, here's something to chew on, a provocative thought maybe. How much does history, like a win-loss record, actually dictate what happens now?
Good question.
When does it become this like self-fulfilling prophecy for the person trying to break through? Or is it really just about who executes better under pressure in that specific moment? When does history become a cage, and when is it just noise you need to ignore to finally walk through that door?
That is definitely something to mull over.
No.
History versus the moment. Great food for thought.
Yeah.
All right, that brings us to the end of this deep dive. Thanks for joining us. We'll catch you next time to unpack another fascinating topic.